and welcome to another episode of Somewhat Accurate History, a podcast where we vaguely remember the history of various countries. Apparently, Wales is not a country. Hey, welcome to another episode of Somewhat Accurate History. This time, we're going to jump ahead a couple of years. We're still focusing on Russia because I'm, me. We're going to jump ahead a few years, past Ivan and Time of Troubles. We're going to talk about motherfucking Catherine the Great, a very, very popular figure in history. And
I like how you set it up like we're doing consecutive history. Like, the beginning of the earliest recorded history is 1846 when man invented the saxophone. Now we're going chronologically.
You know what I mean? Also, this is technically before that. This is the 1700s. But, I know someone wanted me to cover the second Tsar and his whole fucking bullshit. And I kind of want to too, but I kind of going to go out of order just because of it's a little easier to make like fun scripts for other characters, other figures, aka characters in history. You know what I mean? Like it's easier.
I mean, I'll allow it, Alex, but just don't let the podcast police know that you're skipping and breaking the rules.
Don't let them know I'm going out of chronological fucking order for this history that like everyone has covered for like 500 years.
Bitch, you're about to get time squatted. It's like getting swatted, but that's how they do it in the future.
Okay. So we're gonna skip ahead a couple hundred years, right? Now the best way to continue with Russian history is to not take place in Russia at all. We're gonna go to Prussia.
Okay. Is it just Russia with one of those Groucho Marx glasses and mustache?
So obviously we're from America because that's how we think of that country with a similar name. So no, Ted, it is not Russia's next door neighbor. It's actually okay. So how do I explain this to you? Because I assume you know nothing about Prussia, right?
Other than the fact that it's just fake Russia, no.
Okay, so let me say it like this: that country doesn't
pretend Russia, Prussia.
That country doesn't exist anymore. That country is now part of Poland. So we're in basically Poland in air quotes right now in the 1700s. There's a young girl named Sophia. Sophia is the daughter of a man named Christian August, who is a prince, not the prince, just a prince of some bit in the Holy Roman Empire, and her mother, Joanna Elizabeth. Joanna Elizabeth, as the records show, which were probably written by Catherine herself, was a massive fucking bitch. Was a humongous bitch. She's compared to, compared to the evil stepmother from the Cinderella story. Like, holy fuck, dude, this chick needs to calm down. In fact, her father's very rarely mentioned in these fucking things at all, other than the fact that he existed. So I guess he just didn't give a shit about Sophia's fucking life.
He has a fake country to run.
Well, no, he's not running the country. He's just a duke. He's just like a random fucking like prince from like. He's just like basically how do I say this, Ted? This is hereditary bullshit politics again. Basically, he's well off, but not like super duper famous and rich. He's just like, oh hey, it's just one of those prince guys. You know what I mean? He's just he's like the 20th in this line.
He'd be like in the House of Representatives for a state here in the United States. It'd be like seat number 15, where it's like, yeah, I guess you're kind of important to the state of Delaware or whatever.
Yeah, he's basically leading like this boony ass shit that no one cares about. And Joanna,
can we just take a Delaware break here? Can you think of a single goddamn thing that's come out of Delaware?
Name something that's come out of fucking Wyoming or something. There's like so many useless states, dude.
Wyoming is where all of those Three Wolf Moon shirts are produced.
Really?
It also has Yellowstone. No, Alex, I was making a goof.
Oh, okay.
Fucking moron. Everyone would laugh at him.
Bitch, I'd believe it. There has to be something. There has to be some W in that state.
I've been to Wyoming. I won. My mom, this is a history podcast. My mom won a contest to be in like a single mother's documentary, and we were by far looked like the shittiest, most fucking piece of shit redneck family ever. We had like 15 TVs because we were breaking them for parts and shit. Anyway, instead of paying her money, they gave us a trip to Wyoming, and a buffalo took a massive shit right underneath my window. And also we found a lot of dead bats in the pool. That's all I really remember about it.
Okay, so anyway, back to history.
As you can see, obviously, Alex, that ties into Catherine the Great.
No, my hardcore history is a single man podcast. Okay, so anyway, Joanna sucks and hates her life. She doesn't like living out with her stupid ass fucking husband Christian. Takes all of her fucking frustrations out on poor little Sophia. She hates Sophia. Do you know what Sophia did to earn this ire?
Exist?
Yes, and she wasn't a dude. The only thing that mattered back then is if you had a son, because if you had a daughter, you basically just did nothing with her except marry her off.
She was like a poker chip.
This is like the 1700s, guys. I'm sorry, it's just how it was back then. So Sophia stayed away in her little room, just reading like a fucking nerd. Because what is she gonna fucking do? Like, she can't go out and do anything. She's a girl in the 1700s, and her mom treats her like shit. So
yeah, she's under quarantine too. She can't leave.
So at one point,
that's a little topical humor.
At one point, her brother dies, and now Joanna doesn't have the only thing she cares about anymore. Now she's basically just has Sophia and also their other son, but he's so young that I guess he doesn't matter either, because I don't know, it's the 1700s. Fuck you, everything sucks. So Joanna gets a new idea. You know, Sophia might be kind of useful to me. I gotta get her out of here and have her get fucked. If I can get her fucked, I can get some money out of it or something. Because remember, she's married to that prince, you know, that like 20th in line prince guy that typically gives her some connections. So she starts writing shitloads of fucking papers, all just taping a fucking like picture of Catherine. No, Sophia's Catherine. Spoilers. Sophia everywhere.
Hold on. So is she just going to like each telephone pole in Prussia and stapling a paper that says, "Will you fuck my daughter?"
Yes. Unironically, Tad. Yes, she is. She is talking to every single guy in the fucking, like, in all of Europe who is in any type of, like, nobility. Hey, will you fuck my daughter? Hey, will you fuck my daughter? I will let you fuck my daughter for, like, maybe $100. Come on, here. Come on, fuck her. Look at her. Like, shaking her at her. Look at her. Look at her.
$100 right here. 120, 120.
Yeah, okay.
130. It's all fake Prussia money. It's not worth anything.
Welcome to the 1700s. I'm sorry. We're gonna get somewhere. I'm telling you. All right, so at one point, someone actually takes the offer. Her 24-year-old cousin, as in blood relative, is like, I want some of that. And he was like really, really creepy about it too. Like he would go up to her and like feel her up when she was alone. So, you know, he was just really weird. So Sophia didn't like that and said no to that one. But something nice happens. A letter comes in from this lady named Elizabeth of Russia, the empress of the entire country. She's like, hey, I'm interested in your daughter. Would she by any chance want to? And the mom, and Joanna's like, yep, She just immediately folds the fucking letter up and, all right, we're going there. So, to this, there's a little connections going on here. There's a little boy named Peter Ulrich. Sophia actually met him at one point. He's a weird little kid who really, really, really likes to play video games. He really likes Super Smash Bros. And kind of smells weird. Also, he likes to drink, even though he's only 11. Kid's just a creeper.
Right. This dude I don't know, he sounded kind of base to me, Alex.
Oh, he's very base. He'll come up later, though. They meet, they're whatever, and he just goes out, he's like, hey, do you know the tier list for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? So, Sophia doesn't like him very much, but whatever. He's just some kid. Then another message comes in from a guy in Berlin. This guy's name is Frederick. Frederick's like, hey, why don't you come visit over in Berlin? I want to see the daughter you keep sending around everywhere. And fucking Joanna's like, oh, hells yeah. So, here's the plan. Go to Berlin, pit stop, and then go all the way up to Russia, right? Get both letters at once. So, she got 10,000 rubles from the Empress of Russia. Basically, the Empress of Russia is paying Joanna to bring the daughter here to go get fucked. This is a pretty sweet deal for Joanna. So Joanna takes all 10,000 of those rubles, aka Russian money, not fake Prussian money, but real Russian money, and spends it on a bunch of cool fancy dresses and jewelry for herself and not her daughter. And so she goes, you immediately saw where that was going. So they go to Berlin, and she being Joanna, comes up to the fucking Mr. Frederick, the guy who's like in Mr. Berlin, basically. She's in this nice fancy dress. She's like, oh, I know you wanted to see me. He's like, no. Where the fuck is Sophia? She's like, why would you want to see Sophia over me? He's like, bitch, the letter had Sophia on it. where is Sophia? And she's like, oh, well, she's not here right now, but you can talk to me instead. He's like, where is Sophia? And she's like, okay, fine, shit. She doesn't have anything to wear, okay? I can't bring her out here. And he's like, I will literally give you a dress to borrow. Bring Sophia here, you absolute idiot. And she's like, okay, fine, jeez.
I can only imagine her looking like Mom from Futurama.
Yeah, Joanna is not a nice person. So she brings in Sophia here. And Frederick is basically the king. And he sits a little Sophia. She's like fucking 12 or 13. She's a young little girl. He sits her right next to her and he's like talking to her about life and shit.
And how old is this guy?
He's don't worry, it's not what you think. He's an old man, but it's not the way you're thinking it. He's not gonna be the one marrying her, don't worry, it's not that. I was worried too, don't worry. No.
Just reading at eyes to
Well, she had that last guy who was kinda old, but this one's yikes. So Frederick is actually testing her. He's doing some Jedi bullshit, asking her about life, philosophy, and all this shit, and see how smart she is. Meanwhile, Joanna is sit over there in the shit corner in our little table, told to just kind of fuck off. Joanna will remember this. So Frederick is like, all right. You know, this chick's pretty smart. He pulls out a pen and paper to a letter written to the Empress of Russia. You see, Ted, he actually knows her. And these two are working together to see if Sophia is good enough to go to fucking Russia and produce an heir. Because I guess you have to be good enough for this. So he's like, oh yeah, she's fucking lit. And so he sends a letter to the Empress and, he moves them on their way. But he actually brings Joanna to the side. He has a plan for her. See, there's this asshole in the fucking Russian court named Asshole McShitballs. Asshole, there's a reason his name doesn't really matter. It's like Borovicek. It's a really hard Russian name, I'm sorry. Fucking Boris here is an asshole and no one likes him. And so, there's a little bit of political fucking menagering going on right now. You see, Prussia wants more power. Wants to be cool and not fake Russia. They want to be like a big, real Prussian country. So, he's working with the Empress to kind of get more fucking clout. And one way to do that is to get rid of this asshole who keeps announcing everybody, and then make him look cool. Be like, oh yeah, I did that, I'm part of that. And then, hey, that makes him look good. Gets him,
this asshole who keeps doing what?
Basically, he's like, how do I say this? He is very anti-Prussian. So when Prussia is like, hey guys, can we like be a cooler country? He'd be like whisper to the Empress here, nah, these guys fucking suck, don't give them anything. So he wants him out. That way he can come into the court. Again, it's 1700s politics. It's very confusing like that. A lot of the things it's weird to think of it like today, where we have like countless different like houses of like representatives talking to each other in these big like courtrooms. But when it was royalty, it was pretty much you just had to suck up to the king or queen and you can kind of get whatever you wanted because they had divine right. You dig?
I gotcha.
So by getting rid of this guy who keeps telling Prussia to fuck off, he can then say, no, tell Prussia to fuck in. And the Empress will be like, huh, well, if you insist. So. Oh, by the way, his name is Bustachev. I remembered it now. Bustachev. That's the plan. Get them in there, get her married, but also get rid of Bestachev over here, whatever. Mr. Boris, Mr. Shitty McShitballs. So.
Get rid of Bestachev and put in Worstachev.
Literally. So. They get carriage ride all the way up to Russia. When they get there, they actually get a really kick-ass intro. Like, they're fucking, like, Russian dudes, like, showing off guns and shit, like, yo, here she is. Yo, this is fucking poggers, dude. So they get there.
It is poggers, comrade.
Yeah!
Like the funny frog.
So, fucking Sophia is like, damn, this place is cold as shit, but it's cool as fuck. She likes this place so far. She goes to the fucking big-ass palace, and she's just this poor little Prussian girl, and she's like, whoa! Like, everything's so fucking white and beautiful and sparkling, right? Goes to the fucking white-ass palace.
You guys have a Super Nintendo? I just have a Sega Saturn, the worst console ever made.
Listen here, Tad. This could be a one-man podcast. So. It turns out that Empress is actually the aunt to that Peter guy I mentioned earlier, that weird, smelly Smash Bros. Player. This is how it all comes together. So, here's the Empress's plan. because she's an aunt related to this guy keeping the royal bloodline going, and fucking Sophia, if you want to call her Catherine, but her name is Sophia still. Sophia is technically nobility because she's the daughter of that one prince, kind of, who's like 20th in line over there in the Roman Empire, right? That even though doesn't exist anymore. You get the point. Basically, she's got noble blood. Get these two together, give him a fuck, get him an heir, new fucking ruler of Russia, donezo. Just that easy. So she's like, hey there, you two guys, get together. And oh wait, sorry, here comes Joanna to fucking open her big fat fucking mouth again. She's like, oh, hello, I would like to be in the court and be cool and everything. Is that all right? And the Empress is just like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Get the fuck out of here. This is more important. Joanna is just trying really hard to be like important, and like nobody likes her. So back to these two. She gets them to just, because they're like fucking 14. She just gets them together, shows them into like a room. You guys have fun. Not fuck yet, they're not married, but just get to know each other. So Sophia and Peter are getting to know each other. Peter's just like, you ever
look at how I can wave dash.
you play competitive Pokemon by any chance?
Vaporeon is the only evolved fire type that can't learn Solar Beam.
He tells her how Vaporeon is the Pokemon perfect for human breeding.
Oh my god, I forgot about that post.
So basically, they're not getting along very well. But there's one big thing, outside of the fact that he's a creeper, that they don't like about each other. You see, Sophia thinks Russia is pretty cool, but Peter fucking hates it here. It's cold, it smells bad, it sucks. He wishes he was in Prussia, his feet hurt. Frederick was way cooler than the Empress. All of this sucks, he wants to go home.
Wait, are they gonna do the old switcheroo?
You'll see what's gonna happen with Peter. You're gonna like it. So, here's what happens. So they're not getting along, but they have to kind of get married. Kinda, sorta. So she's gonna deal with it. She's gonna deal with the fact that he's a weird, smelly Smash Bros. Player, because if she can get married to him, that means she doesn't have to go back home to her mom. She fucking hates her mom, dude. So here they go in this little place. They're about to get married, but unfortunately something happens. Sophia actually gets really, really sick with this thing called pneumonia. So pneumonia back in the day, 1700s, was really, really bad. That was like actually lethal, as opposed to nowadays where we can kind of get rid of, kind of take care of it.
I mean, nowadays pneumonia is still like, if you don't seek attention, like medical attention really goddamn quick, you're going to choke to death.
Yeah. And so people were wondering, how the hell did she get, like, she lives in this nice, clean place, how could she get pneumonia? You see, what Sophia was doing is she was staying up all night, every night, studying hard about Russia. She was learning Russian, and she was studying Orthodox Christianity. Because remember back in the Ivan episode we talked about Macarius? Macarius converted Ivan, who then converted the entirety of Russia to Orthodox Christianity. And they're still Orthodox even today. That's how much Macarius actually influenced the fucking country. Even now, and even in this part of the history, and even today, literally as we're talking, that's still their main religion. But she's read up all this shit, and she would stay up all night in the horrible fucking Russian cold, just reading and studying all this crap. So her getting sick, but getting sick trying to be, how do I word this?
A good Russian?
Yeah, she suffered and was enduring hardship just to fit in and be like them. That's how they worded it. And that made people fucking love her. Because the Russians, back then especially, their whole thing is they were really hardy. And that was like their main goal, right? That was their main, like, how do I say it? Their paragon.
Their national pride is that they're a hardy people.
Yeah, that's it. See, this is why two people work sometimes. You can help me with the fucking words. Okay.
We're not going to be like that guy from Hardcore History who's one stub toe away from trying to fix the flaws of the Nazi plan.
Fucking honestly, dude, he fucking worries me.
He's ready to explode, and it's going to be huge.
But people are like, this chick's fucking awesome. Peter sucks, but this chick, I like her. So she's about to die, right? Much like Ivan, dying just is something she likes to do and then also change her mind about. So she's about to die. Her mother comes in. She's like, give her a Lutheran priest. And she's like, no, give me an Orthodox priest. And that was a little bit of political benagering right there, because that made everyone love her even more. Where she was willing to die on their religion instead of her own. Everyone was just like, holy shit, she's awesome. So much like Ivan, she wakes up, She is not dead. She is quite not dead. And now she is stronger for it and much more beloved. Speaking of people who are beloved, not Peter. So meanwhile, during all of this, Peter was doing this really cool thing where they had a fancy ball, and Peter comes in with his Nintendo Switch, and and the whole party stops and looks at him like, ugh. So nobody likes Peter, and nobody likes Joanna either, because, see, something really bad happened at that same party with the Nintendo Switch. Joanna, remember her goal? Remember her goal was to take care of that Best of Chip guy, right? So here's how she did it. She was at the party, getting drunk. She said, hey, you fucking sucks, Best of Chip. You also sucks, the Empress. Yeah, they fucking suck. Prussia's cool. So she told
so she gets executed.
So she tells it to people who like to talk. Those people like to talk to the Empress. So the Empress immediately hears how she's basically just a fucking double agent. And she's like, well, fuck this whole plan, fuck all of this, and fuck Sophia. You two can get the fuck out of my country. But Sophia, like, begs super duper hard and humiliates herself and humbles herself right at the feet of the fucking Empress herself and says, please, no. Going back home sucks balls. Because remember, she does not want to go back home with her fucking mother. She will do literally anything to stay here. Even hang out with this, even grovel at the feet of this fucking kind of mean old lady. She will do anything. That's how much she doesn't want to live there. With her
she will learn how to play Melee Fox.
Yes.
Fire!
She will learn perfect fucking shielding and fucking Z shield, whatever the fuck it's called. She'll learn L canceling. She's got the perfect edge guards. She'll fucking play Jigglypuff. Fucking... So, the Empress is like, you know what? You're right. I'm getting a little upset. This isn't your fault, Sophia. You could stay. But for your mother, you know what? She could stay too. And everyone's like, huh? Wait, really? Like, yeah. But she is not going to be in any position of power, that's for fucking sure. So she's basically been reduced to just a lady of the court. Basically, that back in the day just meant you were a chick who got to go to court.
Yeah, so she would basically just exist she would be one of the background characters in like a ballroom dance scene from like Downton Abbey or something. Like she has nothing and she can't do anything. She just exists. And hopefully she snatches another husband, I guess.
Yeah, basically. So. Here we go. They have a fancy ball one last time. A fancy like banquet.
And how old is Sophie again?
She's about like I would say like 15 or 16 at this point in time. Because remember, we're time's progressing forward, and things move a lot slow when it comes to these old days, as opposed to nowadays where you have so much information constantly being like rapid fired at us. When it comes to reading these old records, they kind of only like write down like the really important shit. So you kind of jump like a few months every time like a new bit happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha.
So she's about like 15 or 16 now. You know, she's like a young lady. And they have this full thing is that what happens is, I'm sorry, before the banquet even happens, remember Peter, the weirdo? Yeah, he gets hit with smallpox. So he gets really sick and almost dies, but he survives, just like how Catherine did. And so he's a hardy guy. People kind of like him a little more now. But something really bad happens. The smallpox permanently disfigures his face. And so now he's really fucking ugly. Catherine wrote down that she couldn't bear to look at him. That's how bad he looked. So now she's really sacrificing to stay away from her mother. She still would rather hang out with this borderline leprous-looking smelly Smash Brothers player than go back home with her mother. Put that into perspective of how much she didn't like her mother. So finally, they go to this banquet. She's like, okay. The Empress is like, okay, they're getting sick. I gotta hurry this up. I need an heir like now because I'm getting old. I am not waiting for them to sick and die. Okay, so we're gonna do this. You're gonna get married, and hey! There's fucking Joanna, Lego City voice, hey! In the fucking back. Joanna's pissed off at something. Great. What is she pissed off about now? She's mad that she doesn't get to sit with the rest of the royalty and with her daughter and shit. How dare she just be sit with the rest of the common ladies of the court? And so the Empress is like, you know what? You're right. You shouldn't be with the rest of the ladies of the court. Brings her alongside into her own private room and her own private table, and just ditches her there. She doesn't get to be in the court at all.
Then she just brought her to the kids' table at Thanksgiving and made her sit alone.
Yes.
Here's what she did. She brought her over there, And then she gave her one of those little coloring mats from like a restaurant. And she gave her 3 crayons, a red, a blue, and like a yellow. So she can't even like fill in Garfield, right? Because the red and the yellow won't mix. So she's just having the worst day.
Yeah, I mean, Joanna deserves it, but Joanna has been basically, this was a, old political thing to just dishonor the fuck out of her in public. Basically just tell her to fuck right off. So, after all this is said and done, she's like, okay, speed it up, they're gonna get married now. And during this whole thing, what Sophia does, is that she fully converts to Orthodox Christianity. And during this, she gets the new name, Yekaterina. Or, as we call it, Catherine. Yekaterina is basically the Russian version of it, you dig?
Gotcha. So now we're in the second arc.
Yes.
The second anime arc.
Yes. So now I can say Catherine, not be a mistake. So Catherine, now with her creepy Smash Bros. Playing weirdo.
The guy from the Goonies.
The guy from the Goonies. Now that they're finally married, it's time for the wedding night. They have a fancy little ball, and then the Empress grabs her, drags her to the wedding chamber, basically the fuck chamber, prepares her for the frickening. Wait for Peter coming here, and you two are going to get it on and start making me some goddamn grandkids. Or I guess
so it's basically the ending to the first Toxic Avenger.
Yes. So she waits there. She's just like I think she's like 17 or 18 at this point. She's just a young girl who's nervous. She's never fucking been like this before. She's nervous, sitting in the room, kind of scared. She waits there for 2 hours. Just sitting there in the dark by herself. So she's not nervous. She's just kind of like bored now and kind of like a little pissed off. So Peter finally shows up, drunk off of his fucking ass, says, "You played Smash Brothers," and falls down on the floor and passes out drunk right there. So Catherine immediately says to herself, "Oh yeah, this isn't gonna work out." So Catherine goes woefully unfricked, as it is said, and realizes that this is not going to go anywhere as a relationship. Speaking of not going anywhere, I get to finally talk more about Peter himself. So I was actually talking about this in the Discord a while ago. We were talking about how Peter is kind of a really interesting character when it comes to history. And this is mostly going to be about Catherine, but I really want to give him some time because he's really fucking crazy. So I already talked about how I call him like a weird Smash for this player, but he was like, he really was just like a weird stunted man-child.
Is he like one of those model train guys?
Unironically, yes. Here's what he did. One day, Catherine's walking through like the hallway and goes to see Peter like in his like fucking room, and she's like, "Peter, what the fuck are you doing?" Peter is putting a mouse on trial for stealing a piece of cheese, and he's doing this by having the mouse on like a little chair and has those little like toy soldiers around the mouse, and he executes the mouse by cutting off its head with like a knife. So he's weird. He's weird as fuck.
Okay, Alex, so I just had like a roller coaster there. So at first I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun. And then I'm like, oh god, he might be like in his 20s now. And then, oh, he cut it. Oh no, up and down, Alex. Yeah, I didn't like that.
And that's his like most infamous like man-child moment where he was also a little bit of a psychopath. Now, there's a guy called Biographics who talks about Catherine's story, who actually gives him a lot more screen time than a lot of other people do. And he tells that Peter is normally the bad guy in Catherine's story, and he is an asshole, but he can't help but feel a little bad for Peter because Peter was, well, obviously fucked up in the head, but he lived a really bad life where his family, also lived out in fucking Prussia, would treat him like shit, where he was, what was the famous scene where he brought him into a dinner table. He was just like a young little boy. Brought him out there, made the poor little Peter wear a sign around his neck that said, "Stupid, useless donkey," and made him watch everyone else eat dinner while he got nothing. Basically,
what did he do?
Exist, Tad. Exist and be weird. Yeah, he was kind of just shit on. Ever hear Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker? Where he was just a poor guy who was kind of losing it. That was Peter.
What's so funny, Peter? You wouldn't get it.
Yeah, so another thing Peter would do is he would stay up all night playing Animal Crossing.
Playing
Fortnite on his Switch instead of hanging out with Catherine. In fact, they had to force him to sleep in the same bed with her. He's a lot like Lovecraft, where he was just kind of like, did not like his wife whatsoever in that way. But what he would do is at night, he would pretend to sleep with her, right? Just like cuddle up next to her, wait for them to leave, wake back up, take out his toy soldiers and start playing with them on the bed.
Oh my god.
He legitimately was that guy, Tad. He was the 1700s version of that weird kid on the bus.
That kid who would like show you his iPod and his videos of Chris Chan.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So. This
I don't know if I
on.
ever told you this, Alex, but I hung out with this kid explicitly, and I shit you not, just to play Smash Bros. Melee at his house. And his mom was on to me. She was pissed whenever I came over.
It's kind of like how I was friends with that fucking asshole kid Jake who liked to torture fucking animals because he had a pool. Yeah, you do. Just like how Catherine would stay in Russia and just be away from her mother, you would hang out with a weird psycho just to get into his pool. So anyway. So this crappy like relationship in air quotes goes on for 7 whole years. So during this time, Catherine just says fuck it and starts sleeping around with a new man, a real man, who would actually give her the fricks she so desperately craved. This man was named Sergei Saltykov. So I want you to picture this, Tad. You know that stupid meme picture of, I'm going to just use the Team Fortress 2 example of it. You know, the scout with the Super Nintendo with the fucking glasses? Like, yeah, as the Chad Soldier and Paulina are in the background. That is literally Peter right now. Peter's hanging out with his toy soldiers while his wife's going fucking some guy named Sergey. So Peter is having his own affairs too, which I'm impressed that he was able to do that considering his disfigured face, but hey, kudos to him.
I mean, Alex, he's the... Oh god, what is it? Oh god, what do they call the Toxic Avenger? They call him the something superhero. Fuck. The monster hero. That's what he is.
Oh, basically. And he is technically speaking in line to a throne. So remember the original plan, everything about this was to get her to give an heir, right? That was the whole reason the Empress even brought her over here to get fricked in the first place. But
and then they all just kind of forgot about it.
No, they didn't forget. The Empress was constantly just, tapping her fucking heel on the goddamn floor. Because remember, she's getting old, and this has been 7 years, and there was still no kid coming out of that fucking harlot. So she's like, hey, could you, like, hurry up with the whole frickening thing? Okay, cool, thanks. So
do I have to grab it myself?
Do I need to fucking get his dick in there myself? Do I have to fucking push him in there like his fucking toy soldiers? I'm gonna fucking freak! So, eventually, she gets pregnant and miscarries. Okay, that's yikes. Try again. Miscarries again. So this is already huge taxing mentally and physically on a poor fucking young lady. 3rd time's the charm, though, and she does finally give birth to a son. They named him Paul. Right now, this is 1754. Right? Now, I even write it here in my own notes. Credit to where it's due. For a young lady to keep going after miscarrying so much is fucking impressive. That shit takes a really big toll on your psyches.
Yeah, that was 18 months. That's a year and a half, assuming it was back-to-back, which it probably wasn't.
Okay, so speaking of taking a horrible toll on someone's psyches... As soon as she gives birth to that son, let me set the scene, right? She's in the room and giving birth, pushes all out, and she's exhausted, right? She's bloody, she's tired as fuck after just doing that. Empress comes in, takes the son, says, finally, thank you, and just fucking 180s and leaves. Just leaves her there. And all the other doctors and shit go like, yeah, we have a fucking heir, woo. And they run out to go cheer, and just leave her there. So she's sitting there, like, just... Oh, you see like Smiling Friends? You see, Pim's face was at the end where he's just depressed? That's pretty much how she felt right there. She was completely defeated. And Paul comes in drunk and says, hey, I know you. You're the girl. Wink. And then leaves. So she is...
Wait, who comes in? Because you said Paul.
Oh, Paul. Sorry, Peter. Sorry,
I don't
Peter.
Think the baby. Goddamn, that would be a Twin Peaks thing, though. The baby just comes right around. You're the guy.
Yeah, sorry, Peter.
I know you.
Yeah, Peter comes in, does the whole bit, winks, leaves, comes back. Hey, good job. Winks again and leaves. So she is very tired, a mess, and she's one thing above all, a little pissed off. So. This is where I get to bring up the guy biographics again. And he covers this a lot more better than like other history things. Like he covers it better than both Wikipedia, both their actual official records, and even Extra Credits did. And Extra Credits is usually really in depth. Well, back when they had the old guy before they had the Super Nintendo hack guy. He says, If she was any other woman in history, her story would have ended there. But she's Catherine, she doesn't go down easy. So here's what she did. After being kind of removed from the public life, because she was basically done, she was, much like her mom, just a woman of the court now. She's like, no, fuck that. On Peter's birthday, she comes back to court by inviting herself to the party. Comes in with like a fancy dress and just sits right fucking down. And everyone who ignored her, she just fucking, like, just shuts the fuck up and starts talking down to him. Because what are they gonna fucking do? She's technically above him in the hierarchy. Now, Peter didn't like that. But the regular, like, rabble, the other nobles in there, they're like, damn, this chick's got something to her. This chick's got a little bit of fire in her.
This chick's got some balls.
Yeah. So she pissed off a couple of Peter and his cronies, but made everyone else like her. And this is important. See, Catherine is planning. She doesn't like her husband right now. And so she starts talking with some British ambassador and starts taking some bribes for information about the country to then sell back to the British. And this gives her a lot of money. And this money she uses to kind of interact and make a little network of extra super duper important people. Now, 2 people are important. A guy named Stanislav Pony. I'm just going to call him Stan. Holy shit, I can't even read that name. I wrote that name down. Stan and another guy named Grigory Olav.
Jesus.
So
like that name, that is the name of a man who looks like a brick.
The Russians, dude. Russians are just bricks of people. So Poditsovsky, aka Stan, I horribly butchered that.
The man Stan.
The man Stan would eventually become the king of Poland. So it was really nice that she slept around with that guy a little bit. But this Grigory guy, he's a very important figure because he is a general with a lot of loyal soldiers. Those guys will be useful in a couple of years. So anyway, it's been a couple of years and Catherine got pregnant again. And this time she gave birth to a daughter named Anna. And this
Did they take Anna away from her? Or
no.
Were they like, okay, you can have that one.
The daughter don't fucking care that much. But there's a really, really creepy fucking moment about this. And I really like this. It's so chilling. So Catherine's there, exhausted for giving birth again, just like exhausted, tired. Peter comes in, like leans over to her, like watching her while she's like exhausted. He says, in this situation, I could do whatever I wanted to you. Winks and leaves. So she was like, okay,
what the fuck?
Yeah, she's like, oh my fucking god, this guy needs to fucking get the hell out of here. So now she is completely steeled in her resolve to get rid of her husband once and for all. Speaking of getting him rid of once and for all, 1756 happens. And this is where, and a lot of people are going to know this year, the 7 Years' War happens. So this is where all of Europe just kind of like started beating the shit out of each other for 7 whole years. And this is the war that actually kicked off the American Revolution. Right? That put that whole fire there. So Russia ended up having to fight against Prussia, which is like the complete opposite of what both of those sides wanted. Because remember, the whole point of this whole like engagement was to get them to like work together. But that's not happening. Everyone's up against each other. But during this time, the Empress dies because she was old. It was just bound to happen. So now, because the actual heir, the little boy, is still just kind of like 2, he can't rule. So instead, it falls upon Peter.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, where was Peter from, Tad?
He was from Prussia, I believe.
Yes. And remember what he said to Catherine, to Sophia, aka Catherine, when they first got there? He hated Russia. He hated the language. He hated everything about it. It was cold, sucked. He liked Prussia way more. So you can already tell why this is going to go bad.
So he's just going to sandbag it.
He sandbagged it so hard. Here's what he did. Okay, so the Empress was actually winning. It was really hard and a lot of people were dying, but they were slowly like getting closer and closer to just totally destroying Prussia, right? But once Peter comes into charge, he just says 180's all of it. He's like, yo, Frederick, sorry about what my fucking aunt did. Here's all that land back. We good? And Frederick's like, hell yeah. He's like, you know what? Here, I'm sorry, dude. Look, here's a formal written apology for everything that happened. I am so sorry. Listen, we're not going to do this shit anymore. We're totally cool, right? Hey, Russian military guys, I want you to do a toast and tell the Prussians how cool they all are and how much we suck. And they're like, what? He's like, yeah, do that for me. I'm the fucking czar right now. You do that for me. And another thing he would do is he would force his servants, not his soldiers, his like servants in the castle or the palace, to dress up as Prussian soldiers and like parade around. So everyone hated him. Everyone hated him.
This sounds like a real quick way to die.
Yeah, so this is a quick way to make everyone, literally the Fallout message pops up, everyone disliked that. So on the Prussian side of history, I should say the Polish side of history, they loved this. They'll talk about how this is like the greatest thing that saved the country. Meanwhile, in Russia, they'll say how this is the worst thing ever. They want this guy to fucking kill himself. So here's what happens. Catherine's like, hey, this would be a nice time to strike, wouldn't it? But if only I could do something about that. And Orlov comes in. He's like, hey, let's do something about this. You hate your husband? She's like, yeah. You want to overthrow him? Hells yeah. So Orlov gets together with Catherine, and they start getting a couple of his troops together, and they go to march over.
So Catherine throws the brick at him, and it just beats him to death with a brick.
No, it's actually more interesting than that. Check this out. So remember how everyone fucking hated him? It's actually a lot easier to overthrow somebody when literally the entire country despises him. Here's what happened. So he wanted to not deal with Prussia anymore. He wanted to go fight Denmark because he was a duke of fucking, what was the fucking country called? Holstein. He was a duke of Holstein, and there was a little bit of land that his family lost in Denmark. And he wanted it back. So instead of fighting Prussia and, winning that whole war thing, gave up on that, gave him a shitty peace, and just moved all the way to Denmark that nobody cared about. Wasted everyone's time and money. So he was out of the country. Off of the throne. Completely leaving that open for just, somebody just waltz in and just take over the whole joint. So anyway, Catherine waltzes in and takes over the whole joint. And it was really, really funny how this all goes down. So she gets their little army.
I can see him just like, he's like waiting for his cab to come and pick him up, and it just never shows up. So, and he's just stuck in Poland. He never comes back.
Well, we'll get to that. So here's what happens. Here's what happens. Catherine and Orlov, get their whole little army. They dress Catherine up in like a military uniform so she can kind of like disguise herself so they don't immediately know what's going on. They march over to the fucking big old white palace and they're like, all right, guys, we want to get into that throne room. And all the guards are like, fuck it, please, by all means, just go ahead. They just step out of the fucking way. And they're like, oh shit, all right. So Catherine takes off the fucking disguise. Oh, this was fucking useless. And she sits on the fucking thrones, and she is technically declared as the Empress of Russia. Technically. Not yet. Well, we'll say that because technically speaking, this is a civil war now. There's a reason I keep saying the word technically, because no blood has been spilled yet. She just kind of walked in there and sat on the fucking chair. So she gets the whole churches together, the Orthodox churches, and she's like, hey, remember how my fucking stupid ass husband tried to remove you guys in power and give it to the other religion, Lutheranism? They're like, yeah? Well, here's it all back. I love you guys more than anything. And they're like, you know what? You're the fucking empress in our hearts. And again, another political move by her.
The people's champion.
Yeah, so she's getting the people, the guards, the soldiers, the church. Literally everyone is liking her right now with everything she's doing. So people on Peter's side, because apparently he has people on his side, are like, oh shit, we gotta warn him. They run over to fucking Denmark. Oh dude, we got some bad news. Your wife's trying to overthrow things. We have this letter and everything. He's sitting there playing violin. He's like, listen, I'm in the middle of something. Leave it on the table. I'll read it later. He never reads that letter. So he's sitting there back playing violin. More people run up and they're like, dude, this is really bad. You gotta get there. He's like, I'll think about it. Goes back to playing fucking Smash Brothers on his Switch. So they run over. They tell the Catherine, please, Catherine, don't start a civil war. Please, 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 do not do this. Do not go against your husband. And she takes those two goons, takes them to the balcony of the palace, looks outside. There's an entire army cheering her name. And she says, tell that to them. And so right there, those advisors change their sides and side with Catherine. So now that Catherine has officially won everyone over, Peter comes back. Finally comes back after he's like, okay, fine, I guess I'll go check it out. He doesn't bring his guards with him, because he didn't think he would need them. After all, he's basically the Tsar, what does he care? So he goes there, they stop him, point all their guns at him, and they say, you're no longer in power, your wife is. And he does this really ballsy thing. Now, Tam, what do you think he does? Before I say it, just guess. It would surprise you.
He says, what are you talking about? I'm Catherine. And he takes off his disguise.
No. He gets down on his hands and knees, starts crying and begging for his life and mercy. Joke's on you. He was a fucking wimp all along. So.
Man, you got me, Alex.
So.
Oh, he's funny, man.
So he pleads for mercy. He abdicates the throne, gives it to Catherine, and now Catherine is officially the Empress of all Russia. And now she's in power. She says, oh, mercy. Well, you know, in this position, I could do whatever I wanted to you. So she puts him under house arrest, and 8 days later, he mysteriously dies with a piano wire around his neck. So he's
the classic suicide.
I imagine how it went too, where we all think Orlov did it, you know, the brick. He's sitting there playing Smash like, oh, finally, I got that last fucking Chivo, and just fucking cries behind him, just starts killing him. Finally, I 100% did Bug Fables, the everlasting sapling, just kills him.
Switch, PS4, and Xbox, May 28th.
So now, for realsies, she is Catherine the Great. And she has become in power. Now, this would be the end of the story, Tad, but not for Catherine, because we gotta talk about some really fun things. This is gonna be a long episode, I'm sorry, but I really like this figure in history. So, now that Catherine is really in power, she's gonna start making some changes to the way everything works, because she kind of realized something while she was walking around. Everything kind of sucks. She likes the country, but man, the people in charge of it kind of dumb. So she gets everybody together. She wants to get this whole, how do I call it? A new rule of laws. It's called the Nakaz. It is a book of guidelines on how to make laws. So here's how it works. She's going to get representatives from every group and faction of people in Russia to then talk to her, tell whatever their troubles is, and then she can go fix them and make new laws for it, rather than just kind of guessing or based off what nobles say. Yes, Tad. For the past few hundred years, they were just kind of winging it, as you saw with Ivan, just making laws about the people he hated.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so this is a good start. Okay, Catherine, you're doing good.
Yes, and this is really cool where the people that she brought in were, of course, the nobles, the regular peasants, the middle class, the Cossacks. Cossacks are these group of people that kind of live out in, I don't want to call them the booties in the hills, but basically the booties in the hills of Russia. And they're a really cool group of people where they're not Russians in air quotes, but they're also not Russians, where they side with Russia and help them out a lot in military shit, but they're their own, they're like a PMC. They're really cool. I'll talk about them a little more later. But she even gets some Muslim people in there, some Buddhists and shit. Everyone is in there except for 95% of the country, aka the serfs. Now, do you know what a serf is, Tad?
From what I remember, it's basically just the lowest class.
Yes, it is a slave. So 95% of Russia is basically in enslavement to other people, and that means they don't have any representative and any reps in the Nakaz. So technically, millions of people don't actually know what the fuck is going on in Catherine's castle right now. No one's actually no. The laws only really help you if you're above upper middle class and high class, and that's basically it.
Sounds familiar, Aleks.
Yeah, weird, isn't it? So here's a fun bit about this, though. So the people in the Nakaz, all these reps, they actually didn't know what the fuck the Nakaz was. They didn't know what a rep was, and they didn't know what governing was. They didn't know what ruling was. They didn't know what laws were. You might be thinking, wait, why the fuck are these people in power? Because they were born into nobility. So they would come in here, and they thought that this was a creepy, because remember, they think back to what Ivan did a few hundred years ago. Remember when he brought in everybody and then beat the shit out of the biggest and strongest one to do a loyalty test, They thought this was going to be another loyalty test. They were freaking the fuck out. They were like, hey, I don't know what the cause is, but Catherine, you're the coolest thing ever. Hey guys, isn't Catherine great? Yeah, she's great. We should call her Catherine the Great. Yeah, please don't kill us. And she's like, the fuck are you guys talking about? Hey, you know what's another good title? We can call you the Great Mother, the Great and Wise Mother of the Fatherland. That's a good title. I like it even more than the Great. She's like, shut the fuck up. Everyone shut the fuck up. We're not here to give me a fancy title. Can we still call you the Great? Shut the fuck up. We're here to make fucking laws.
Then she beats the fuck out of him.
She beats the fuck out of the biggest, baddest one. No. She's like, zip it. We are here to make laws. Did you read the Nakaz? They're like, no. What do you mean you didn't read the Nakaz? It says it right here, what we're doing. He's like, I can't read. She's like, how the fuck can you not read? You're a fucking noble. Like, why would I need to read? I have all my money just kind of handed to me. And she's like, God fucking damn it. So because remember, she spent her entire life just reading books all the time, so she's a very smart girl. And all these other people were just kind of handed their lives on a silver platter, so she's fucking pissed.
reading. Oh, what?
So she tries she rubs her temple and says, okay, fine. Just what are your problems and I'll make laws about them. So here's the funny thing about the representatives of these factions. They didn't really give a shit about the people they were representing and cared mostly about themselves. Wow, what a shocker, Tad.
So the laws are just like, my bed's not comfortable enough. We need to ban Marth from Smash Bros because his grab range is too big.
You were so close to that first one, it's actually almost scary. There was the peasantry leader, because peasantry and serfs are two different things. The peasantry representative was upset that his neighbor's cows kept coming onto his land and wanted a law that said, fuck Daniel and fuck his cows. Tell Daniel to fuck off for me.
How is Russia not collapsed?
This is why I love this country's history. It's a shitpost. It's so endearing because you just see it and you're like, oh my fucking god. Oh my god. Okay, so this went nowhere fast. Literally nothing came out of this other than fuck Daniel. So another fucking bad thing happened. She had to cancel something because back in Prussia, remember that guy I told you would become the king of Poland? Well, she had a puppet king in Prussia. And he wrote a law that said, hey guys, Prussia sucks, Russia is great. So people in Prussia got pissed off and tried to revolt against him, and so there was a big civil war going on in there. Because that's her puppet king and her puppet state, she needed to send her army down in there. But something bad happened. Her army units accidentally went a little too far off in a chase and pissed off a bunch of Ottoman troops down in the south of that area. So the Ottoman troops got roped into it. Now she had to fight both the Civil War and the Ottomans at the same time. Now you know what it's like fighting wars on two fronts. Well, Catherine won. Because fuck you. She broke that fucking rule. She kicked their ass 6 ways till Sunday. But this one, to be fair, isn't actually Catherine's credit because she was busy in Russia with the whole, law thing. This was actually a man named, well, it was Orlov. It was the Brick. The Brick took care of it. The Brick took care of everything. The Brick is the fucking Chad.
The Brick is solid. He is dependable. He'll block you from the wind. It's just you and me and this brick between us.
But there's another general that also helped out who really distinguished himself. A man named Grigory Potemkin. Yes, from Guilty Gear. He's right here in this story.
Does he hit him with the Potemkin Buster?
He went up to the Ottoman troops and hit him with the fucking dash, fucking Roman cancel, anti-air grab, and just heat knuckle, and just fucking destroyed him.
Society.
So here's a really fun thing.
That's a reference to the whatever the newest one is called.
Strive.
For those who aren't gamies.
So here's a really interesting thing. And I know I don't focus too much on military history, but this is a really fun bit. I had to bring it up. So the Ottomans are by the Black Sea, right? That's where like Turkey is, right? Russia's here, Black Sea's in the middle of them. You dig? So they have no port there. So the Ottomans just have a giant unopposed navy in the Black Sea. Nobody fucking gives a shit. They literally cannot be stopped. The Russians have no fleet down in this area. So here's what Potemkin and the goons do. They take their fleet up from the northern half of Russia. I don't have a map to give you a visual aid for this, but basically they sail all the way around the entirety of Europe to get to the Middle East and hit up right up into the fucking Ottoman Empire and hit them from the backside and completely decimate them because no one expected a long voyage like that.
How big of a fleet did they take?
I didn't see the exact number of ships, but it was basically about an even number to the fleet that the Ottomans had. But again, surprise happened. Literally no one, why look at the back door if the back door is like 3,000 miles away, right? Well, they got fucked. So this whole war happened between the years of 1768 and 1774. And now, after this, after completely decimating them, she now gets to have a new treaty called the Treaty of Kuchuk-Kanyarka. This gives Russians a lot of territory. This gives them a port in the Black Sea, and they get war reparations. The Ottomans, they accidentally started to fight with the Ottomans, now the Ottomans had to pay the Russians. And this also made the Russians the protectors of the Orthodox faith in the Ottoman Empire. And also, the Russians got Crimea. Man, Crimea sure shows up a lot in these Russian history episodes. I hope that doesn't come up again. I hope they don't lose that chess piece again later, then get it back, and then lose it, and then get it back, and then lose it, and then get it back again.
What even is Crimea? Is it just like a little piece of land? Has it got something fancy with it?
It's basically, how do I sum this up?
Is it like a good strategic, outpost or something.
It's a nice little way to connect to the rest of Eastern Europe. It's good for trade. It's good for territory. It's good for strategy for military outposts. And at this point, it's basically just a symbol and won't get the fuck back into the Russian territory that it never wanted to be a part of. You actually might remember that recently, back in I think it was 2014. This was just a couple of years ago. I remember seeing this on the news when I was at work. Putin just out of nowhere fucking invaded Crimea. And that was a huge fucking deal. And he tried to annex Crimea again. And he got a huge bunch of sanctions for that. But that didn't fucking stop Putin. Putin just went in there and just took over the fucking joint. So even literally now, Russia is still after that fucking piece of goddamn territory. They will not give that shit up. And obviously, they became this big war with Ukraine. But anyway. So, after all of that, after getting Crimea again, turns out winning a war is a little harder than you think, because a civil war was breaking out back home. You see, there was this fucking asshole named Pugachev. Pugachev's out in the fucking, the hills, the boonies of Russia. He gets all these serfs together and all those Cossack guys I mentioned, and he's like, hey, remember Peter the Third? Well, he didn't die he didn't commit suicide via piano wire from behind. Turns out I'm Peter, and my evil wife and those evil asshole nobles kicked me out of the throne because I wanted to make a law that would free all of the serfs and also get rid of taxes for you Cossacks. You guys should totally start a civil war with me. Wink. So 95% of Russia, all those poor people were like, hells yeah, and they formed a rebellion. So
this guy just saw an opportunity. He fucking took it.
Yeah, he was really rubbing his hands together for that. And this rebellion was lasting for a year, and they were really a thorn in Catherine's side. But all those troops came back from the Ottoman Empire, and on their way back, because there's such a big-ass army just walking up forward, just stomped all over the rebellion on their way back home. So there goes Pugachev. He was a big but brief thorn in her side. So, another thing fucking happened. Smallpox happened, again. So smallpox was a really big deal back in the 1700s. You know what Catherine did to it?
Cured it?
Kinda. Well, she prevented it, because prevention beats a cure. So, you're a medicine guy. You're a medicine man. You're a fucking traveling medicine magician man, right?
Yeah, I do backflips while selling cocaine.
You know what inoculation is, right?
Yeah, it's how a child is born.
Oh, you don't.
We have fun here.
Oh, you don't actually know what inoculation is? Shit, I was kind of banking on you knowing
Aleks,
that.
no, I did. I was making a funny goof.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, it's where it's basically vaccination, pretty much.
Yeah, it's the old ancient form of vaccination where you get a little tiny bit of it kind of scraped into your skin, so you kind of build up an immunity to it over time. So what she did, she wanted everyone to get inoculated to kind of prevent smallpox in her fucking country. But nobody wanted to do that. So she walks up and gets herself inoculated in front of everybody. And also gets her son, Paul, to get inoculated too. Now, everybody wants to get inoculated, and she prevents smallpox from overtaking the country. Another great thing she did. Now,
sure would be nice if there was ever a big a disease outbreak in the modern times that someone would be as prepared as 1700s Russia.
Late 1700s Russia was more prepared to handle a crazy disease than modern day America. Anyway, we're getting kind of to the end now, in her later years. She's getting a little older now. So, 1767. Now, there's the instruction of Catherine the Great, a big fucking thing. She wants all of this shit changed again. She wants the ideas of the Enlightenment. Now, the Enlightenment was this big wave going across Europe around this time, which was things that we all take for granted now, like innocent until proven guilty, and considering slaves as human beings. Also, during this time...
Keeping that fucking asshole's cows off your yard.
Yes, keeping Daniels off your yard. But also, during this time of the Enlightenment, the instruction, as it was called, was getting passed around whoa, this is crazy. Whoa, considering the slaves as people. France heard about this and banned the instruction from being read throughout the entire country, so they would prevent a revolution from happening. Huh, weird. This is a weird time. 1767, and they want to prevent a revolution? I'm sure nothing will come of that. So anyway... Spoiler, something came of that. So, Now Catherine has officially given up on the whole representative group thing, because all people do, like Daniel, just want people to fuck out of their houses and shit. She decides, okay, fuck this. I'm just gonna just bang the fucking stick. Okay, royal decree. We're going to have orphans, schools for orphans and shit. Women are going to have slightly more rights and shit. Also, hey, the police, you can't just go beat the shit out of people willy-fucking-nilly. You have to actually be cops, banging the gong. New city, bang the thing. All right. New fucking royal decree. I want to do these new tax laws over here in this town. And the guy in the nobles, this is my favorite interaction with Russian nobility. She gets this absolute idiot. He comes in, he's like, okay, so there's this far off town over here that does whatever. And she's like, well, where is this town? He's like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? He's like, I don't know where it is. He's like, well, go fucking find it. And she's like, okay. He's like, okay. He goes and gets a map from a map maker. He gets the map. It turns out only about half of Russia is actually on the fucking map. There's just this big old blank space over here and over there and over there. And there's like a scribble that says, okay, the Kazakhs kind of live in this area, I guess. I don't know, question mark.
Right in the middle of it just says, here be Yetis.
Here be Yetis. Here be Kikimoras. Oh, what? Don't go too far in the woods. Baba Yaga will fucking eat your fucking liver. Fucking... She's like... Oh... Like, sighing once again, holding her fucking, temple. I swear to fucking God. You just hands the map and like a pen to the guy. Go out there and fucking map the country. He's like, why should I do it? I'm a noble. Me work? I never work. Just put all the guns at him. Oh, very well. I see your point. So she sends Bluster calling out to just go out and fucking do all the fucking mapping of Russia. And this is 1767 it took for Russia to map itself. That's how long.
And I imagine that map was really high quality too.
It was. She remember, gun to his head. He had to make a quality map, Tad. So they all went around and finally had a detailed map of the entirety of Russia. Now, finally, everything is said and done. She has everything set up for, everyone but the serfs. She's got a map. Now it's time to talk about the fun part. Catherine is getting old. And she's getting pretty fucking horny. She's getting horny. She is I want to say almost 50, and this bitch just suddenly got the fucking itch for some fricks. So she summons her boy, Potemkin. Remember that guy I mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
Orlov kind of fucked off. He's still around, but he's no longer, into Catherine that way. I mean, she's getting old. He's out of there. He's kind of a bit of a dick. He's a wild card she can't handle. Potemkin, though, he has distinguished himself with that whole fleet thing. He's distinguished himself a lot. She likes him a lot, and they begin a not-so-secret affair. She names him the Prince Potemkin, and he is effectively the co-ruler of the entire country. This is 1774, but a few years later, they started to, getting older, not really like each other that way anymore. And then they break off. They make a deal. They're going to still, be co-rulers in air quotes. He's still going to have all this power, and he's still going to give her advice and shit, but they're not going to fuck each other no more. Instead, he's going to go off and be with whatever he wants to do, and she is going to fuck as many young boys as she could possibly fucking muster. I cannot comprehend it, how much penis she loved. Let me. Remember Bluster Kong from earlier, Tad? She calls him Bluster. She's like, oh, Bluster? He's like, oh, woe is me. He's like, I need you to go to those villages you all mapped for me. He's like, yeah? How would you go out there and wrangle up all the young boys for me? How young, madam? He's like, I don't know, 15? 15 up? 15 and younger. So he gets... it was a different time. So he goes out there, he's like, oh, bollocks. So he's gonna go every town just ringing up all these boys. And people were nervous as fuck about this at the time. Because, what is she gonna do with all these fucking young boys? Is she gonna do some fucking Bloody Mary shit? So she brings them all in, fricks the fuck out of them. There's a statement for you. She just... Hey, advertisers. Catherine the Great liked to fuck a lot of young boys. Anyway, ever hear our sponsor? So,
Alex, hold on. You're moving around your chair a lot, and it's squeaking. I can hear it.
Sorry. So, she liked the frick, basically. And when they come back, and they're like, oh, they survived. What happened? Dude, she just wanted me. She made me 100 fucking rubles to fuck her in the butt, dude. This chick's fucking crazy. They're like, whoa, she did what? That's fucking buggers. People are like, damn, God, I wish that were me. So, So this all happens near Catherine's like her later years, and this is why people remember this the most because this is kind of how she goes out, is being really horny.
She goes out with a bang.
But another thing she did, I guess this is what people mostly remember, not the rest of it. She would get custom-made furniture. Like, say she got a fancy dresser, right? Another little legs.
Oh my god, would she get fuck chairs?
No, but what she would do is she would get, like, say, a custom-made dresser, but instead of, like, the little, like, legs to stand up for her, they would be shaped like penises. Shit like that. She would get penis furniture. She loved dick. She just couldn't handle enough penis. So you know that bit from Drawn Together where they do the Mad Libs? It's like, he penised, and then he took out his penis, and he penised the penis. That's crazy. Crazy enough to penis. Basically, that was the end of Catherine's life. And I know I'm sounding kind of dumb, but I'm not that far off. That's the worst part. And
God, menopause hit her like a fucking semi-truck. Because right before you stop producing eggs, you go into overdrive because we're all just animals. And she just needed dick.
Yeah, so finally,
Did she make an heir?
Remember, she had Paul. Remember Paul, her son?
Oh, then what? God damn it!
She was just horny.
God damn it, woman.
She was just horny. Remember, she also had a daughter too, Anna. She had kids. She was just horny as fuck. So
I guess she can get away with. If she did anything with any of the nobles, then they're gonna be like, "Oh, I want land." No.
I mean, she did. I mean, that was Potemkin and fucking Orla. That's what she.
Yeah,
used
I know,
to
but that wasn't that much. That was like anyone else, you know, like Potemkin or whatever. He's just kind of like the brick is out of the picture. The brick has been thrown through a window. He's gone. Potemkin, I guess, went to go be in Guilty Gear Strive, so he was no longer around.
So finally some unfrickening happens. So in 1789, the French Revolution happened, I mentioned earlier. Now, they all used Catherine's rules, that the fucking, like, you know, Enlightenment shit, to, like, get rid of all the monarchy. So Catherine was like, hey, remember how I said all that? Yeah, she grabs the paper and puts it behind her back. I changed my mind. Because she didn't like the idea of people suddenly not liking her authority. So, another country... Oh, what was it called again? Oh yeah, Poland. Poland had the audacity, the cojones, to want their own constitution, just the French made. Catherine couldn't let that happen. So she cracked down and called a thing called the Second Partition, basically dividing the country up between herself, Austria, and Prussia. So they didn't like that. And a man named, let me get my reading glasses here, Tad, shows up and tries to rebel against them. Yes, his name is actually Tad. It's like Teduzev. But we're just gonna call him Tad. Tad shows up, and he's like, fuck you and fuck your marker. Fuck all of this. We're gonna rebel and make Poland great again. Catherine cracked down harder, and she killed so many people that more people died during this than their entire reign of terror.
Now listen, Catherine, before you have me exploded like Dr. Manhattan did to Rojak, let me tell you about Homestuck.
So... she fucked them up. 1795. Catherine's old now. Catherine hits them up with the Third Partition and officially wipes Poland off of the map. Don't worry, they get better. So. Catherine's, you know, just... she's old. She's not as outrageously horny anymore. And she's like, okay.
Her days of being a fucking semen witch are over.
Yeah, she's had her bit of being the great, she's had her bit of being the horny, she's had her bit of being the tyrant. She's kind of done so now. Now she's gonna name her heir. Not her son. Fuck Paul. Paul sucks. She's gonna name Alexander, her grandson, heir. But unfortunately, she mysteriously dies of a stroke. So now Paul...
she mysteriously dies of a brick.
So now Paul is in charge. You know, because spread of succession, Paul being her son, is now officially the Tsar and everything. He is ready to rule everything. First thing he does is he takes all of his mother's paperwork and burns it, just in case there was a will that said Alexander was better than him.
Nah.
But he knew. He knew that his mom liked, you know, the grandson more. So he wanted to get back at his mom a little bit. You know, continuing this whole right of children hating their parents. Remember the dad, Peter, the Smash Brothers player that nobody liked? Paul takes him out of his original burying, gives him a proper fancy funeral, and then buries him alongside his mother as a middle finger to her because he knew how much she hated him. So now, even though he hates her, even though she hated him so much, she is now buried with him for the rest of time. They get to rot together. And that is the story of Catherine the Great, as she is referred to as the horniest empress in history. That is her whole story. And I feel it's kind of unfair because, like, she, as you tell, she has this incredibly long, like, interesting story of becoming, like, this, nothing little girl who just gets treated like shit to becoming a fucking empress. But then only people ever remember her for all the frickening she did. It feels kind of unfair.
Honestly, like, I would be very surprised if kings at the time were not fucking boning left.
Oh, they
and right.
were. In fact, there was the guy around the Ottoman area who had a straight up harem of like 10 different wives that he would fuck one different wife a day. But Biographics himself even says it's not fair, but because she's a girl, you're gonna focus on the fact that she was horny more than you're gonna focus on a dude. Because a dude, that's natural. You're that horny. But a chick, whoa, what the hell is that? Oh, remember, it was also the 1700s. It's a different time.
Yeah, she was like female Zeus, as opposed to every other king who was just like male Zeus.
Yeah. I really like her story because there's a couple reasons for this. One, it's really different. Where for most of history, you see things from the dude's perspective, and it's like battle this, battle that. You get to kind of see these like kind of background, like underhanded shit. Because a lot of what Catherine did was just like under the table, like and quite literally a little dick sucking to kind of give herself a bunch of power, and then just kind of stage a whole fucking coup. I like this because, like, I've talked about this with Tad, and I think I've said it on the podcast, but, like, I'm personally not the biggest fan of military history. And it's mostly because of the stigma of people who like it. I really prefer learning about how, like, people do this political shit. Like, 1700s politics, that seems pretty fucking weird, doesn't it? Or my favorite, history of dentistry? Sign me up. If I see that, like, in a fucking, like video or something related, I'm gonna fucking watch that over, like, the Battle of Kursk, right?
Yeah, it's interesting seeing how she got there. She took bribes, she was wheeling and dealing with all these other countries, literally just took the throne. Like, she didn't have to kill him. She didn't kill anyone to get the throne. It was given to her, and then he died, but...
Mysteriously died of a suicide by piano wire.
He was trying to play the Super Mario Brothers theme on the piano, and he hit the last key too hard, so it snapped and wrapped around his neck, and then he fell out the window. 1 in a million shot, Doc. 1 in a million shot.
But I really like her, and surprisingly, no, Ted, she is not in Fate before you even ask. Before anyone asks, I wanted to cover her for a couple reasons. 1, it's Russian history, and I'm biased. 2, it's interesting because it's different. 3, she's not in Fate, stop bullying me. And 4... Okay, she is actually in a video game. She's in the Civilization series. They used to use Stalin in that, but that was kind of yikes. They couldn't do that after a while, so they replaced it with Catherine for 2 reasons. 1, she's another big figure in Russia, but 2, they can kind of pad out the female roster in the Civ games because there aren't a lot of female rulers in history.
You got like 6.
You've got like how many off the top of my head? There's the Queen Elizabeth is the obvious one, and there's Boudica, then there's fucking Catherine, of course. Then there's fucking Wu Zit-sen, and that's already scraping the bottom of the fucking barrel with Wu. There's literally one more in fucking Civ, and I don't even remember her fucking name.
It was like some Native American person.
No, it was like Queen Teresa or some shit of like some country. Was there some guy in the fucking comments that's gonna say, I can't fucking believe you can't even fucking remember her despite having so many hours in Civ. I'm so fucking mad. Listen, fuck you, alright? Anyway, you can find the podcast.
Speaking of scraping the bottom of the barrel, Aleks, you can find the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. There's a Discord and a Patreon in the description as well. Sometimes I post funny things on the Twitter because Aleks doesn't have access to it. So sometimes I'll put some fun little bits in there, and he'll never see them. I'm gonna shill Bug Fables again real quick before we end the episode. I'm recording another episode with Jose on the Twitter. There should be, I think I tweeted out. If not, it's going to be on there by the time this goes up. Google form to submit questions if you give a shit. Any last things you want to say, Aleks, before we finish the episode?
I hope you guys liked the episode. It wasn't as exciting and like battle-filled as something like Ivan was, but I really wanted to cover it because it is a very interesting bit. Because it's just so different, and also it's kind of easy to poke fun at Peter and Catherine's horniness.
All right. It was a fun episode, Aleks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next episode.
All right. Sweet-tacular.